Let me simplify it for you. Have you ever used a tool like ChatGPT to write an email, look up a recipe, or even debug some code? What's happening under the hood is actually pretty fascinating, and once you get into it, you can't stop. All the jargon, LLM, LCM, RAG CAG, sounds like pure tech speak, but it's not as complicated as it sounds, especially if you frame it in simple, everyday terms. Let's start with LLMs, or large language models. These are the ones you're already using, GPT-4, Claude, all of that. Their core trick is actually pretty simple. Imagine a phenomenal improv actor. That's what an LLM is. You throw them a prompt, and they instantly perform. They've been trained on massive amounts of text, books, articles, websites, and they've learned to predict what word is most likely to come next. When you say, "Tell me a story about a puppy," it immediately starts weaving something like, "Once upon a time, there was a little golden retriever named Max who wandered into the city." It's not pulling this from a database. It's improvising one word at a time, based on patterns it has seen before. This is why LLMs are fun, fluent, and creative. But this is also why they sometimes lose coherence, or make things up. They're just following probability, not necessarily truth. Think of it like this. An improv actor might say, "The sky was a beautiful shade of red and green," even though that's not a normal sky color. They're focused on creating a plausible-sounding sentence, not a factually correct one. Now compare that to LCM's large concept models. If LLMs are improv actors, LCMs are more like novelists. They don't just start blurting out words, they step back and ask, "What's the big idea here? What's the structure? What's the logic that connects all these points?" So if you asked for that same story about a lost puppy, an LCM would first sketch the outline. The puppy is curious, wanders off, faces challenges, maybe a grumpy cat or a busy street, meets a helper, a kind child or an old woman, and eventually finds its way home. Only then does it fill in the words. The difference is massive, because now the machine isn't just dealing with surface-level language, it's reasoning in terms of concepts, causality, and structure. Think about it this way. If you ask for a summary of a climate change article, an LLM might just paraphrase paragraph by paragraph and sometimes lose the thread. An LCM, on the other hand, sees the chain. Emissions lead to warming, warming causes ice melt leads to rising seas. It's not just words, it's ideas. This makes LCMs a lot more reliable for tasks that require deep reasoning, like generating a scientific report or a legal brief. So the way I see it, LLMs are clever storytellers, and LCMs are systems thinkers. Each has its own place. If you need a chatbot for quick customer service, an LLM is perfect. If you need a coherent research-level report, an LCM is the way to go. The catch is that LLMs can hallucinate and sometimes ramble, while LCMs are heavier and more resource-intensive. And this is where RAG and CAG come into play. Imagine one of your friends who always runs to the library and brings you the latest textbook to answer your question. That's RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. It means the model doesn't just rely on what it already knows, it can go and fetch documents in real time. For example, if you ask, "What's in the latest EU AI regulation?" a plain LLM might give you an outdated answer, but an LLM with RAG can pull the actual text and respond with fresh, grounded information. It's more reliable but a bit slower since it has to look things up. Think of it like a chef who, every time you order a dish, has to go to the local market to get the freshest ingredients. It guarantees quality, but it takes time. CAG, or Cache Augmented Generation, is like a friend who always has their own neatly highlighted notes ready to go. Instead of running back to the library every time, they just flip open their notebook and find the answer. That's what CAG does. It keeps important information cached, so the model can respond faster and cheaper. It's perfect for answering FAQs, providing product support, or anything repetitive. Think of it like a chef who has all the pre-prepped ingredients ready in the kitchen. The food comes out super fast and the process is efficient. The downside is obvious. If you don't update the notes, the information goes stale. The real magic happens when you combine these approaches. An LLM plus RAG is like an improv actor who always has a librarian whispering fresh facts in their ear, great for things like legal advice or news summaries, though a bit slower. An LLM plus CAG is the same actor but with their own notebook of well-rehearsed punchlines, super fast and efficient for repetitive tasks, but not always up to date. With LCMs, the combinations get even more powerful. An LCM plus RAG is like a novelist writing a story while constantly consulting real research, perfect for policy analysis, science reports, or in-depth investigations. It's heavy and expensive, but extremely strong and reliable. An LCM plus CAG is like that same novelist working from a well-organized archive of notes, fast and solid when the underlying information doesn't change much, like quarterly market reports. But again, if the world moves on, it risks being outdated. When you put it all together, it actually feels pretty intuitive. LLMs are wordsmiths, LCMs are deep thinkers, RE is your librarian friend, and CAG is your personal notebook. And depending on the combination, you get completely different strengths. That's the bigger picture. LLMs gave us fluency, LCMs are giving us reasoning, and RAG CAG are making both more reliable and practical. Honestly, I think the future leans toward LCMs. LLMs will still be around. They're cheap, flexible, and fast. But LCMs represent the next step, where AI moves from just playing with words to actually grappling with ideas. We're watching that shift happen in real time. The story of AI right now is the journey from words to wisdom.